With the preparations for the 2026 elections in high gear, today we pose the question about women's participation in said elections. Are they prepared? What is their role? What challenges do we anticipate they'll face in light of the current political situation in Uganda? Good afternoon and welcome to Women Speaking. With me today to dissect this very pertinent topic is an illustrious panel. I shall introduce them from my extreme left, coming back in. So at the edge, the very edge, is Naima Isa, a feminist lawyer with Action Aid. Good afternoon, Naima.
Good afternoon.
You can just say something to them.
Oh, hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Naima Isa, a feminist lawyer. I've been on the show a couple of times, and I'm happy to be back.
We're very excited to have you. Next to her, we have Ms. Winfred, and the ED of Rights for Her, an eco-feminist organization, Ms. Winfred Mugambwa. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here with these ladies. Greetings to everyone listening in. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. And then right next to her is Ms. Nassolo Irene, the chairperson of the Inter-Party Organization for Women. Thank you so much, Irene. Very good. We're very happy to have you.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. My name is Nassolo Irene, the chairperson in Inter-Party Women's Platform, and I'm happy to be here and looking forward for a beautiful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. And then right next to me, to my right, we have the Honorable Miria Matembe, a human rights promoter and a lawyer. Welcome, Honorable.
Thank you very much. A senior citizen who should have, retired and living her life peacefully, but you continue disturbing me, inviting me here. But I'm happy to use my biggest talent, which God gives me, which is my mouth. And so for me, I always use it until I go to account to him. I'm so glad to have these young ladies here. And I'm very happy because that young ladies are here means that we really worked.
Yeah.
That we are conforming to, you know, this John chapter 15 verse 16, which says, I chose you to bear fruits that would last. Amen. Therefore, for us, we worked. We the senior citizen, the senior women citizen, we worked, we bore fruits. Fruits are here. So I'm glad to participate in a discussion with them. Especially I had somebody who says rights for her. I say that's it.
Yes.
So the women's rights will continue to be, you know, promoted. Definitely. Even when we are long gone, because that's what she's standing for. And also the other one, I know they've been fighting. And so I say, listeners, listen to this topic and we see how we carry it on.
Well, very excited to carry it on. So to start us off in the conversation, Irene, I'll just start us off with you, the politician. Before we go far and dissect the question of 2026 elections, I want us to understand the status quo right now. What exactly is the political space looking like on a broad range? What exactly is it looking like, especially for women? What is, help us to break down that aspect.
Women in politics currently, like my mom, she has said, she started this and we have been looking up to her. And we believe that the political culture is not there yet, but we are improving. We as a Inter-Party Women's Platform, currently we are rolling out on regional structures. And these regional structures, they are going to help us to strengthen our political party women leagues. Why? Because we understand that most times women are out there, but they don't know what to do. And women are out there, they want to join politics, but because of what is happening, the violence, the corruption, the different perspectives, they can't raise their voices. So that's the kind of culture that we want to go out there and educate those who want to join politics. Because like Mom, she has said, we need people, we need to mentor. Like she mentored and she's still mentoring, and also have to amplify the voice to reach out to the women in different regions so that they can also join politics, and because we believe they can contribute a milestone to the country and in the women in politics.
Of course. Yeah. But when you mention the violence and the corruption that could be keeping a number of women away, are we not focusing on a different aspect when you try to address the issue with setting up grassroots level structures to address these issues, when we should be addressing the violence itself, we should be addressing the corruption itself? What exactly ought to be done for these particular aspects?
Regards violence, it is something that we are trying to address. We wanted an interaction with the Uganda police, the military. We wrote to them, but even up to now they have not given us the platform.
When did you write to them?
Last year.
Last year?
Yes,
okay.
Because we wanted to really air out our views. Because whenever we go in elections, the police, they manhandle us. So we wrote to them and we tried to raise the concerns, but they didn't give us the platform so that we can air out our views. Because me personally, I was violated in the previous elections.
What happened?
You could go to a place and because it was like COVID time, we are not allowed to do rallies, we are not allowed to hold meetings, and whenever they could find you, like it's past time or you are called up in a certain area, they would manhandle you, they would insult you. It was like something that would create fear, and this was my first time in politics. So the violence is out there. You could pin your posters and the next day you come back, they are down. The violence was too much. So we wanted to really have that interaction with the people in authority to hold them accountable. But most of them, they have not given us the voice, the space to talk to them, because this is what is happening, especially when you go to the ground. And when it comes to the regional elections, that is the day of the polling day, it is another circus. They don't allow your agents on the side, everything, and they don't allow you physically to be at the polling station, because they call it like you're trying to bribe the yeah. So you are not allowed to be there. Sometimes you feel that you are very handicapped. So we wanted to address those issues. Previously, we went to the Electoral Commission. We spoke with them what has been happening. And they could only say, we don't have the mandate. Ours is to organize elections, and people, they come and vote, and that's all. And we were like, but you are the people in authority who organize these elections. You cannot just say that ours is to just organize elections and you go away. You have to listen to our side of the story. How are we going to move if we cannot interact together? So their response was like not quite, it was vague. And sometimes there is a point where we hold them and like, now it comes to when they declare as someone who's not supposed to be declared. And all what they could say was like, that one, we leave it to the court. And you know the court drills, when you know the truth that someone has gone through, but that someone is not supposed to go through, and you are just telling me that, okay, if you feel that you are aggrieved, you just go to the court, when you are the immediate court. So it was kind of controversial, and I don't know what to do, but we shall keep amplifying our voices towards that, because the world where we are moving, and especially to the election part of it, whenever people, they get excited, things, they turn out to be the other way around.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much, Irene. Naima, I'll move on to you. The most important question, why women in politics even? What is the pertinence of women in politics? I think this is also particularly an interesting aspect, both from the political angle, but just from the layman's angle. What are we envisioning when we say we want women in politics, and why is it even necessary in the first place?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Why women in politics? One, I think this stems from our constitution, which great women participated to ensure that there is inclusion of women and women's rights in that constitution. And if you look at the constitution, it speaks to equal representation, of man and woman. And looking at our laws and how the laws influence you as a person or an individual in Uganda, if you do not take keen interest in those laws, those policies as a woman, you might find that these laws and policies will act against you. So it answers the questions, why women in politics? We need women to really interrogate which policies are being passed, how do they affect women, and how does it interpret to an everyday woman's life. So having women in politics is having someone to check whatever is being passed by the legislation. So if you're talking about, let's say, the FA system, which is now a hot topic, how is that influencing or affecting a woman down in the village? So we need women to take part in this politics, interrogate the policies, because most of the if you look at our politics and our legislation, the majority are men. Even with us having a significant number of women, you find that most of these women have nothing to say or nothing to add of value to whatever is being discussed. So we need women, not just women, but women who are going to make impact. 15 years back, we had strong women. I think one of them having Honorable would speak in Parliament, and you hear that Parliament shake. And you feel like that is a woman's voice. Currently, I hardly hear any woman who can make a move in the Parliament and like, yeah, the woman has spoken, and so they will hear. So we need stronger women in politics, women who will make an impact in the political decisions of this country.
Why do you think that we we have the highest number of women in politics that we have had in the entirety of our history as a nation, and yet you're saying you're not hearing the voice? And it's true, we're not hearing the voices. Why is this so? What happened?
Well, I would like to think that most of the women who stand in these positions of power do not stem from the women's movement. The previous women we had were few, but there were women who had an agenda. There were women who agreed on things they needed to do for that unordinary Ugandan woman. Right now we are seeing a little bit of tokenism being influenced in the politics. We're seeing appointees, where a head of state comes and dictates to the district, I want you to elect so and so. So the person being funded to be elected is not really a person who's going to speak for the people. Someone who comes from, the agenda that women are looking at. These are just women who are either being rewarded for their political loyalty to a certain person, and they're not really the people you want to go and speak for women, or people who know the needs of women. Most of them are women who, because it's like a reward for them, like, now, since you're loyal to me, you supported me, go and represent these people. You fronted, and with the corruption in elections where money speaks, you buy people's votes. So that's how we're seeing women going. And the real substantive women are not being elected to represent us in politics. So yeah, that is the trick we're in. So we have a huge number of women, but we hardly hear any of them speak and stand for the cause of women. They are passing laws in favor of the people they are loyal to, but not for the women.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Miria, I bring you in on that regard. Naima has mentioned something very interesting, that we're not having women from the feminist or the women's rights movement come in to represent us. We're not having women who are for the cause come in. So the question is, what exactly is the role or the pertinence of the women's rights movement, if that is the case? Where exactly?
First of all, you asked why women in politics. I wanted to thank Naima for what she has said, and add on by saying that politics is the platform at which decisions of managing society and people are made. And women are part of society. If the decisions are being made for them without them, that means you miss out two things. One, you miss out the brains and the intellect and the wisdom of those very women who also were created in God's image and moreover created to help men. People need to know that when God created Adam, he saw him helpless. He wanted to assign him responsibility. But he didn't assign him any responsibility because he was helpless. He needed help. That's when he created Eve. Eve from where? From the rib at the side of Adam. That these two will exist side by side. As Eve fills up the gap in the brain, in the wisdom, in the intellect of the man, something was missing. And God put it in the woman so that when the two are together and they converse and they discuss, they come out with a decision which is good for them. You get it? So, in fact, when you read this word of God, that's why I love the word of God so much. God did not assign Adam any responsibility before he created Eve. He only told him, you be eating the fruits. Because he could see that he was not sufficient, complete enough to do what God wanted Adam to do. God wanted Adam to relate to him, to thank him for what he had done, and to manage his creation. And that is the politics, the managing of the universe and the human being and God's creation. It's only when Eve had been created and Eve and Adam saw Eve, and for the first time life entered Adam. We bring life. That's why when they make decisions where we are not involved, those decisions do not impact on humanity very well, because they are lacking the humanity element that God put particularly in this woman, the life element. Because before Eve came, Adam was not speaking, he was not laughing, but life was brought into him by this woman. And when God saw that his creation was now perfected, he said, now you too do my work of procreating human beings. Secondly, do my work of managing my creation and everything I created. You know, that's what the word of God says. We should never discuss politics, and get it out of context of our creation and the background as to how human being came and God told the human beings to do. So, when you leave women's mind out of politics, which is meant to make decisions that affect and govern the world, it means you are like running with one foot, or a bird flying with one wing. It cannot fly, it will be falling. So it's so important that the decisions which are made at those political level decisions, because everything, by the way, is politics, making decisions for management and sustaining well-being and welfare of humanity. That's what I call politics. And so, this half, the half of the world, their mind must be tapped for the decisions which will be made. Number two, it is women who know what they feel, what they need, because we are made differently. Yeah. There is some statement which says that the one who wears a shoe is the one who knows where it pinches most. Now I'm a woman, I become pregnant. Does a man know how the pregnancy affects a woman? Does a man know what periods, these periods affect women? We are different. We don't even know the more so how they are affected. So that's why when the women have to bring these things which are not in men's mind at the table to ensure that the decisions which are made take into account the effect, how those people are affected, the concerns, the interests of these people who are different from them, although made in the same image. And therefore, participating in decision making that affect, promote, and empower human being calls for two brains of both a man and women to participate. And the reason why women's movement and all that kind of thing, it didn't start in Uganda. It started long ago in 80s, 70s, because women were treated as if they were not existing. and everything was decided and made for them. They were just like objects. But now some people, women there started being affected. They raised the issue. It came to them that we are also human beings. They were released in slavery. In other words, we are like slavery. When you know, slaves in America were not considered as people. They were slaves. So women were not considered as people. So the battle that this women's movement is fighting up to now in Uganda and promoting is calling upon everybody to say, you, a woman, is as much as of a human being as the man. And therefore, both of them must participate in decisions that affect their lives, that concern their welfare, so that we can move together. And one of the reasons why this world is even in a mess and why Africans cannot develop is leaving the majority of the brains that would help them to develop behind. And yet, if you are to know, they call a man breadwinner. But if you went to the village, when I became a politician, I opened up the eyes of women and they saw all these things. They say, breadwinner. Breadwinner.
Oh, yeah.
The man would be sleeping. The woman would wake up in the morning, goes to plant things, goes to harvest them, goes to... Only when she gives the man, you go and sell my beans and bring me salt. Then the man would come home with a pinch of salt. Moreover, from the beans planted by that woman, and then he's the breadwinner. And when you look at the women, all their energy, rearing children, coffee, they used to go plant coffee, they go and train men. When they are training men, it is the women who are handling the coffee. And then it would go in the dust because they are not trained. Yeah. Majority of the work, most of the work which is done for humanity, promote humanity, beginning with the pregnancy and rearing the child and breastfeeding and caring for the family. All this is done by this very person. Yet, when it comes to decision making, she's not there. Now, who is to tell them how these things are made and the challenges and the difficulties, so as to bring out the policies and the programs and the laws that would promote humanity? So this is, when we talk of women's involvement, women's participation, we are not saying that women should take the place of men.
No.
And the reason, the fact that we are suffering now, this backlash, is because they are receiving it in negative. Me, I always say, if only, for instance, the people of Uganda could know the role and importance of a woman as perceived by God and as practically done, they would really be promoting women and girls to go at the front line. Because when we achieve that, that's when we can get development. And therefore, I hope these people have had. Now, you talked of the
women's rights movement.
The women's rights movement. That's what I'm telling you. It is now going in reverse. There is an attack on it. And we call it backlash. Because we have not been understood. No, we are now being misunderstood. But I want to clearly say it here, that at the level when we came on the political platform, and I want to tell you the reason why now there are these problems. We came at the political platform. People started long ago, the Mchara Mpanga, the late Mchara Joyce Mpanga, the current road, Karemashi still alive, there are Florence, who they are. There were many women who participated even at the independence, who fought side by side with men to secure our independence. But after securing independence, the things, anyway, they could have been forgotten, but things fell down quickly. Fell down quickly. Peace went away quickly, and that kind of thing. Now, when NRM came, you found that some of us who had been dying, waiting to be called that we are also human beings. And the original NRM government, which we fought, when we fought and got it there, it came with the woman question high up on the agenda. To the extent that they said, women, where are you? Come. And when we came and embraced the system, remember women were fighting also from the bush, and the men were able to see, hey, these women are putting in a lot. These women have special contribution. These women, we are missing out if we don't get them involved. And so when they came, we embraced the system. The system was peaceful. The system was promoting everybody. The system was committed to development. The system was moving Uganda forward. And therefore, that's why we grew. We mobilized women's organizations. Women, everything came up. Now, everything is being shut down. The voice of the woman is being shut down. And for me, as a person who was there at the beginning, who saw what is happening, I concluded by saying, the extent to which the battle for gender equality and women's empowerment will go depends on the political environment. On the political environment coupled with the political will on the part of those in governance to promote it. That's what I concluded. Currently now, what drives the government in this country is not advancement of Ugandans, is not promoting people's rights and interests and development. No. It is concentrating and concretizing the power life presidency. As long, what matters now is staying in power forever. And it does not matter, and it will be done through wrong means, through violence, through corruption, through greed, through intimidation, through all these. And I have come to realize that where there is no peace, where there is no freedom, where there is no space, peaceful space, women cannot manage.
True.
They can't. Women are peacemakers. God brought them to,
to bring peace.
To bring peace, to bring love, to bring kindness, to do all this. And they can only do that in an environment which is conducive to promotion of all those. But now the current greedy, violent, militarized, dictatorial environment cannot allow effective participation of women in politics. And that means the country is missing and it is going back where some of us feel pain because we saw where we came from. Many of you may not have seen where we came from. Some people see me, they say, this Matembe is so angry, this Matembe hates Museveni. No, it's because when I imagine what we went through to reach here, and I see us going back, that's what I keep crying for. But otherwise, that's what it is. As to whether the women are ready, you ask those. But for me, I'm saying the political environment is simply not conducive for women's participation, let alone effective. That's why you are saying we have never had many women, moreover, at the highest level of government. In the executive, from president, vice president, prime minister, first deputy prime minister, third deputy prime minister, speaker, all these are women. Women are more, not just more, but much more. Because Moses Ali, moreover, who is sick and is sitting there doing nothing, I think he sleeps. Poor man, poor man, don't laugh. He's sick. He should be sleeping. He should be having nothing to do with the government.
Yeah, he should be
but
resting.
because president wants to keep the northern western Nile people that they have a big man in the government, he is there. But you can imagine, it's only President Museveni now. When you go to the executive, who is seated there with these 3 women, Vice President, Prime Minister, First
First
Deputy
Deputy
Prime Minister, Third Deputy Prime Minister. Is one man with 4 women. But what is happening? They are in power. They are seated in positions of power without power because the environment is not conducive for them to exercise their power. You go to the speaker. The speaker, is there anybody who is more powerful than Amongi?
No.
Is there anybody who is more powerful? But powerful in terms of what? Of ensuring that he must implement what the president wants to the letter. And using that position to acquire
as much
as she wants.
True.
And the president is very, very happy with her. And
As long as it goes
yes,
by the
as
book.
long as they are okay. And that's it. And in judiciary, they chased us away. We don't, all the, the leaders of judiciary, it is the Supreme Court Chief Justice, Deputy Chief Justice, the Principal Judge, the Court of Appeal, I think where are we? We are not there. So that is your Uganda. Any politician, a woman politician who tells me they are ready, let them go. Me, I'm only telling them what they will meet there.
True.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, Honorable. Winfred, let me bring you into the conversation. So the situation we have now is that everything in regards to this election seems to have expanded. The budget for this election is nearing 1 trillion Uganda shillings. The positions, they have risen from, I think, 350 something constituencies to about 390. The number of positions, electoral positions, are anticipated to shoot to 1.9 million for the entire country, a country of somewhat of 40-something million people. Do you imagine that this is necessary? Do you imagine that we are moving in the right direction, politically speaking? Because at the end of it all, when people are dissecting these things, they'll say, but we have women who are in positions due to affirmative action. So it all comes down to the question of, when people are thinking of cutting down positions, the question of affirmative action always comes in. So do we really need these large numbers? Do we need to expand things in this aspect?
Thank you so much. And I want to thank all the ladies with their submission. People shouldn't question affirmative action. They should question affirmative action versus tokenism. My sister here talked about tokenism. What are we really having? Yes, the women who came before us, they did a lot around affirmative actions. And we saw it work. But right now, let's verse the two. Affirmative action and tokenism. Yes? What is the real picture on ground? And to me, I would say that as people front affirmative action, they should also see that, is it really what is in place? Or we are just talking about it because in the laws we have that women have to have seats there. Yes? Or we are having tokenism. To just have women, like how Honaiba said, the president is there busy in the chair surrounded by women. And people out there will see that, okay, we are seeing diversity, but is it really what we are seeing? Yes? Or he's surrounding himself with silenced women. Yes? We talk about participation. Are we seeing meaningful participation or full participation? We are just having participation because that is what the main person wants. And when you talk about the budget rising, everything you've talked about, and question, is it necessary? However much I would see it not being necessary, but the question would be, to his interest, are all these things? The person who has the interest, for him it is necessary for them. Yes? We are in a situation, when you look at the political environment that Honorable has talked about, everyone has talked about right now, it is influenced by the dominance of NRM. And that affects people so much. The years President Museveni has spent in power, more than 4 decades, influence all that we are asking, that is it important? To them it is, because decisions are stemming from the dominance of NRM in government, are stemming from the years the president has the influence. When I say they are stemming, the influence is coming from there. Ugandans should just look at everything and say, okay, with this dominance, with the president being in power more than 10 decades, which kind of decisions are we going to expect? We are going to get that. We are going to get a rise in budget because it's in their interest. We are going to have the kind of women we are seeing because it is in their favor. We are seeing politics being militarized. True. Yes, elections are militarized. True. Yes, so all those questions, until we try to get a solution to the answer to whose interest is, this everything is in the interest of the president, because that is, he's in power, and he has to do everything possible to see that he stays in power at whatever cost. Whether the cost is good or bad, but because he wants to stay in power. Because if we say he doesn't want to stay in power, I don't think there would be a time when they tampered with age limit. Yes? By the time they tampered with the age limit, yes, that is obvious enough to show that everything is in his selfish interest. Because by the time you tamper with power, it means you want to stay there. It means, to me, I take it that our president sat down and got into marriage with this country. Till death does us apart. You get it? Yeah. So, because he's already, for him, he's in marriage with this country, and that favored him removing the age limit. He entered in marriage with this country, so it's like everything that has to work in my favor.
In fact, he's cohabiting. You know, it is in cohabiting where the other party has no right, has no control. But if it is in marriage, then we can, yes, there is something. But he's cohabiting with Uganda.
And he's enjoying the rights.
Yes, it can be cohabiting. But that is why I said, for us, we are saying he's cohabiting. But what I'm saying, for him, it's marriage. That is, when he fought to see that the age limit is removed, he entered. For him, in his mind, he's entered. Yes, he's cohabiting. But because he's in marriage, like you see when people are in marriage, they're in marriage in church, there are those privileges they have.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So now for him, he thinks that because I am in marriage with this country, everything has to center around me. Yes. He might not be on the front line of decision making, like he comes out and says out something, but it's very clear that he's at the back of every decision in the political arena. We can see when we say that, okay, women are there, you will see that there are very many things. The budget is raising, but how many women are going to be benefiting? Who are going to be beneficiaries on that budget in support? Right now, unless you're in bed with NRM, the dominating, and when I say in bed, I'm not saying having sex with them, but collaboration, supporting their ideas, singing their song, dancing their dance. That is when you will benefit.
But also, maybe if I'm to add, if you look at that budget, it is being blown out of proportion. And who's suffering the consequences of that budget? It's the Mwananchi. Right now, there's a proposition that school fees should be paid to URA.
Yes.
What does that mean for an everyday person? Yes. So from every system, and of recent they had said URA has reached beyond the target, 1.something trillion, beyond what was expected for them to collect in a quarter. So whatever is being done, they're looking at the 2026 elections. We are raising as much funds because we want to blow the budget. And you know what our elections mean? Corruption. People are going to embezzle funds. People are going to build apartments. You're going to see apartments being raised in different areas in 2 months. yeah, because people have embezzled funds. So that budget is not to benefit the Mwananchi, but it's to enrich the few people who are going to be,
The
you
system.
know, the diehards of NRM that are going to be supporting, and that these guys are campaigning for the president to stay in power. People are going to enrich themselves. You're going to see cars that are going to be imported in the next 2 months.
But me, my challenge, sorry, I think we shall reach here because we may lament. But at the end, we should, I don't know whether we talk it will work. That's why I call it cohabiting. The women who are cohabiting with men, because they know they have no rights.
True.
They are trampled on, they never raise their voice.
Collect as much as they can.
You see the problem. But those who are in that marriage, at least they come,
yeah,
when
they have
so
rights.
they have an agreement. But these Ugandans, they are like real cohabit, because what you've said is really now getting into my head. School fees, why should every money
They want
that is supposed to be paid where it should go to Revenue Authority? Do you know that even city council, this city council, all these money property rate, everything is not going to the bodies where it should go, but is going to Revenue Authority. Why should you miss? Why should I pay for my children in entire school, and instead of paying my fees to entire school, for my teachers, to care for my children and everybody, and it goes to Revenue Authority? And it will continue. It just
I was loving the discussion.
We have to tell Ugandans.
I was loving the discussion.
I
was loving the discussion. And thank you so much for this contribution. And to me, even it's beyond even only taxing and getting that money. You know, when someone is obsessed with power, they will even want to know the chick which has been born in the night.
You want to imprison you.
Yes, you might look at only funding, like now they want also to track, yes, Honorable, how many people are you taking care of? So that they strategize on how
to imprison you, to silence you.
So it might not be around only, it is not only around them getting revenues. It is also about power. How best can we even control this nation, control the citizens, control the women? You get it? For me, it goes even beyond the revenue. Then I was still talking about the environment we are operating in. You will see that right now, like I talked about the NRM dominancy, President Museveni being there in power. We are witnessing so much of a political opposition and human rights violations in this space towards 2026 elections, and you can see that very many women have been violated, and very many women have been coming through the political opposition side. And what does it mean in this situation? Still, like I said, everything is for who? So when the opposition and very many violations rise, like how Naima have said, women, we come in to bring in peace, we come to bring harmony, we bring kindness, we bring development, there's that diversity we bring in. And come 2026, however much women are there, they want to be, they want to participate, but there is now a mixed feeling amongst women.
True.
Should we really come with this?
Should I risk my house?
And now,
yeah,
still the government have seen, because when we talk about political activities, it's not about only elections. When we talk about political activities, there are general elections, there are opposition and engagement. There are
mobilization
civil,
of voters and that
mobilization, and also civic space engagement. That is political engagement. Talking about human rights, that is political engagement. These things of local governance and civil society involvement, that is all political involvement.
Yes.
But right now, what has this space? What are we witnessing? We are witnessing silencing of our civil society organization.
Shut up.
We are witnessing
media
suppression.
Shut down.
And so, what is it putting in the mind of other like people, us, the one which you would want. But again, we are seeing a picture of having very many young women, social media activism around the political, politics. We are seeing very many women fight back using social media, young women fight back to see. But again, still, it raises a question. It still brings a lot of gaps. It still raises a lot of questions and spotting to very many gaps that, okay, as much as women must participate in this, as much as women are there, like by the time my colleagues came in, I was talking about the women bedding with the
ruling government.
The ruling government. It has really silenced very many women. We are having very many women participate in politics. We are having very many women in positions of power. But we are having, the real picture is, we are not having meaningful engagement of women.
Okay.
We don't have power. They are in positions of power,
but no
without power.
Yes.
Did you see when this so, in quote, powerful Prime Minister Nabanja, when she went to Chitezi, and he said, you know the good thing, eh? Murina kamarabyo nari wano.
To say.
I said, God forgive me, because otherwise I would have in spirit thrown a stone. Because people Kamarabiona means the final decision maker, and people are there dying. They have nowhere to sleep, and they say Kamarabiona. They just take it as a joke. Because for the Kamarabiona, see a prime minister, you are people that it doesn't matter for her.
From then to now, the people in Chitezi are still sleeping on the ground.
Actually,
I
would like to bring you in that regard. We have had so many issues spring up as a country, from the Chitezi crisis that as we can see, could have been avoided. There was warning after warning. We've had corruption, it's at an all-time high. Well, 10 trillion a year lost to corruption. Then we are having situations where we've had the march to parliament and people being arrested. All these are happening in such a period that is, the elections are right around the corner. Do you think that this is in any way affecting the public perception of the election? Do you think it's going to affect the way the people of Uganda approach this election, approach our politicians, approach the electoral season, or even just view the political landscape as a whole?
That's a very interesting question. But from your question, there's one thing that do you feel all these, the ripple effect of events that's happening will affect the outcome of the decision come 2026? It is sad, like Honorable Matembe said, that as cohabiting in this relationship, we have no rights. We cannot make decisions. One thing that really angers me with Ugandans is the fact that we do not have the personal initiative to take charge of our lives. We don't. And what saddens me the most is even our parents are the discouraging factors. They'll be like, but we are sleeping. Tuine Dembekati. We used to see that was then. If we do not wake up now as Ugandans, it might be worse than back then in the 70s and 60s. Where the country is right now, if our great-grandparents woke up who were living back then, it could have been bad back then, but now it is worse. Why? Because we have all the resources in place. We have our rights. We know our rights. We have a very proper, well-designed constitution compared to other constitutions we've had. But we're not protected. We're not being developed as citizens of this country. And the funny thing is, Ugandans are very forgetful. Come the elections, because our economy has been destroyed as a country, and we've been left to be beggars and peasants as citizens, we will be bribed with 20,000. And we'll sell our votes.
It is not just 20,000. It is a packet of salt.
That's what I'm saying. We will be bribed and we will forget.
And sorry to interrupt you, but what I want to inform you people here is that never have we had a government which is led by one family.
Yes.
You need to know. You are saying that we might be worse. You say you will be worse.
Yes,
It will be worse than it has ever been. I have never had where a government, or those past governments, call it dictator or whatever, where the government belongs to a family, where the man is the president, the brother is the whole architecture and the decider of every decision that eventually the president takes, where the wife is the minister of the whole of education, and you know what education means to the country, where the son is the commander of the army, where the son in love is managing all the all this coffee, all this big
the economy.
Where the sister-in-law somewhere is a minister. Some people don't know that one. The minister in charge over where is a sister-in-law of Muzei, because he's a cousin to Janet. And now you can imagine everybody like that. And now the son, the commander-in-chief of the army, is being prepared to take over
Power.
as if Uganda now is a
kingdom.
kingdom. This is the Uganda
monarchy,
you are moving in, and Ugandans
Are quiet.
are sleeping,
That is the saddest reality.
are fearing. They've been gripped with all the fear that I have never seen in this country. Gripped with all the fear. And as you know, of course, when Sabarwan comes out and says, I'm Sabarwan, you will see me. Sabarwan is God, I'm telling you. That's why Matembe continues to live and to speak strongly with confidence, because I know that Sabarwan
It's God.
is God.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to call upon Ugandans to wake up. You can't be reduced to nothing.
Well, thank you, Honorable. And like I was saying, for the Chitezi incident, if we had a Uganda that was active, with citizens that are active, the person in charge of the Kitezi incident should have resigned, apologized, and done something about the people. If we look at the Gen Z scenario, because as the head of state, if you claim you're fighting corruption and you have young people rallying upon you and holding people accountable,
Moreover,
who are the masterminds of corruption? Your grandchildren. Me, my grandfather, if I said, you know what, Jaja, we're doing this, my grandfather would be like, I'm behind you.
Yes.
So if you're going to be my grandfather and you have a cause, and I'm like, you know what, Jaja, I have the energy, let me take this cause over. I expect you to give me security, give me the resources, back me up, and tell people, for all that corrupt, my grandchildren are coming. Not stample on your grandchildren, arrest them, kill them, because there's some who lost their lives.
Can you imagine?
Others who are being tortured. What does that speak to the future of me as a young person and the younger children who are looking at me? So it's sad that we are going to forget all this come next year. Even when the Gen Zs were walking and saying we're going to walk to Parliament, you know how many people are against them?
Yeah, quite.
So many, the backlash they faced from the public. And these are people who are affected by corruption. We might be privileged that we can access medical services, but the people down there, people even in Chikubo, do not have medical insurance that they can access better medical services. Instead of running up and supporting the young people, they face the backlash. What does that say to this country? We are here to watch and praying, but sometimes
praying needs action.
So you need to do something, and then God will step in and shield you, protect you, and give you the wisdom on how to do it best. So it's sad that 2026 we're going to forget all these, and then we might sell our votes, like someone said, for a kilo of sugar, a bar of soap, because the economy and the country has reduced us to that. We are beggars, and all we can do is whoever can make me survive tonight is who I'll support. We're not looking at the future of this country.
Okay. Thank you so much, Naima. Irene.
Yes, my dear.
To bring you into the conversation. We are, the last 4 years or so since the 2020 election has seen a shift in the political plane in this country. We have had the emergence of the Patriotic League of Uganda under Muhoozi. We have had the FDC. Is it shutting down?
It is shut down.
No, it can't shut down.
With a new political party arising from the ashes. We have had
DP, Mao
yes, I was going to say we've had the president of a political party become a minister in this government. This is it's a very strange dynamic we have going on as a country. Do you believe that how exactly do you anticipate that this is going to affect your election season, especially for the women, but just generally speaking as well? What is the anticipation among the politicians of this country?
The anticipation among the politicians is quite like politics. They always say it's a dirty game. Everyone goes wherever they want to gain something. The minister, the DP joining the bloc, like they have their reasons. Because one time when we had, we as the Interparty Women's Platform, we went to the minister to talk to him about the electoral reforms, the high nomination fees, they are preventing women to join politics and all that. It was like, the things, they are going to take time. But they were trying to improvise, like every vote counts. Though those ones in parliament, they are very not willing to make those reforms work, because if they make it easy for everyone to join, then where will they go? So it's like he had his own reason. No, they are like, if you don't have what it takes, you can't join us.
Or if you don't have what it takes.
Yes, so they have to always, however much we try to reason with them, that every woman deserves an opportunity. Let us fight the battle at the same level. But how can I fight someone who has much more like this and me, I have this less? And because you find that most of the times when it comes to campaign, you have to have security. You have to go to the bank, you have to have a loan, you have to have funds that you have to go to money lenders to get that money so that you can give to the people and run all the other expenses at the and you are competing with an incumbent who has it all. So at the end of the day, you find that people, they are being embedded in so much corruption, and at the end of the day, we don't have leaders who are like going to represent us out there very well. So when we look at the scenario of politics, most times we want like to raise that voice. How can we fight in an open, free battle? Like I can say, I'm new to the politics world. How can I go and fight fairly and squarely? Let people vote me who I am, and let they see and evaluate what I can do. So at the end of the day, when people, they are like, we are going to politics, it is not fair at all. The system that we are running into. And sometimes it's quite alarming. I remember when I was called upon like to stand, I asked myself, I called one of my friends, he's in police. I was like, can we have a conversation? Because what I hear, at the end of the day, you are the people who are harassing us in politics. It was like, if you don't have money and if you don't have a good father, forget about these things. We know you have beautiful ideas and all that, but this thing, it goes to the person who has the highest bidder.
So it is sad even our police has been sold to the dogs.
They don't want to know. They go with that one who has more than the one who has good ideas and who could push this country to a better next level. Because this is what we should believe. Our country has changed. We need new voices. We need new ideas. We need to come up with solutions. Now, if someone has failed to come up with a solution, and if someone is not given an opportunity to share those views, how will they like interact with the rest of the country to say that corruption, how can we really try to make elections free from kin to kidogo? Because that's what is really hindering, especially women. Because whenever we go, we go to different regions to share our ideas as Interparty Women's Platform. These are the thoughts of the women. How am I safe that after going into elections, I'm not going to lose myself in this? Because the way it's going to drill me, the way it's going to
By the way, if I can add for you, it is not drilling in terms of finances. The sexual abuse.
Exactly.
The sexual abuse that has taken of these politics. Because for us, during our time, agents say wanting to sleep with me or anybody who would support me, no. It was never there. But you know, these days, I'm a mentor. When Forward is mobilizing young people who want to go to politics, I train. You want it, I train them. And so what I've been getting these days, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, there is a certain lady, she has now decided to go to an RIM. I have always waited for, she's fantastic ideas, when it comes to articulation, when it comes to, it's like, you know, the people whom I mentor and they are like me. Her challenge has been in her area because she's not NRIM. She's not NRIM. Recently, after they had elected and were reviewing, when they told us the story, and how this time she could, if she had given in this time sexually, she could have won. But of course, she said no, she refused. Imagine such a person like me, I got to contest and you want sex from me? You know, that type of a person. So sexual abuse, sexual harassment, everything that is against women's interest is now in the politics of Uganda. And those girls whom you see them, those who manage to reach there, those who manage to, you watch them, especially the young ones, they have given in to these men and therefore they are promoted.
And I think why they are using sexual abuse as a weapon is to gain power over someone.
To keep you silent.
Because most times after sexually using them, they even don't stay with them or even take them to other level. But there is a way now someone, you be in that position,
you become
but already you are now.
How will you make a statement?
Yeah.
You cannot make a statement.
It's a power of weakening women. Because this will happen.
By the way, even in current parliament itself, you ask me. Some of those women are just there sleeping with men, doing all sorts of things, which was never there, which was not there.
Because at the end of the day, people, they always pull you down. Whenever you want to make you see something wrong that is happening, you cannot make that statement because someone will say, I have you on what? So do you want to say there's something good to the nation, or I show something else to the media? So sometimes women, they are afraid because this is what happening. Like there is the Honorable Nachinto. She was like she went to participate in previous elections, and this gentleman walked to him and he was like, you know what? To her, Sarah, I have everything, and I see you were a very good candidate. You are this and that, but we need to have a chat. She was like, a chat where? No, we need to have an evening, a hotel, we sit, and you know the things you cannot talk to them over the streets. It was like, what time? At night, she was like, I have a husband, I cannot move at night. So if you want a good, fruitful conversation regards elections, make it a day appointment. The gentleman was like, but you woman, you know, sometimes you think backward, you know. These things, they happen and, you know, you have to rub by. And the guy, the way he was stating statements, it was like, I will make you enter parliament, I will make you win because I have what it takes. This is what is in the... She was like, if this guy has even the audacity, knowing that I have a husband and the kids at home, the proposals that he's making and all that, and he's like trying to draw a conversation. She was like, are you recording me to hear what I have to say? So that at the end of the day, you'll use it against me, because with the way that you are driving me, you are not making me think. So she was like, okay, I thank you for the money, but I'll decline. And this guy was like, but you women, you are very stupid. You should think Do you want power? Or, you know, it is such a small thing. And that's how we are being harassed in
How I wish
politics.
women would expose such men. Go with your recording, have this conversation.
Sometimes they are caught unaware, and you're like,
She was caught
unaware because she thought this is someone who is very respectable, and she could not even accept.
And remember, even where they want you to go and meet them, you don't know the security there. You get it? However much you can say, it's, to me, I feel it's even a risk accepting to go. You get it? They are the ones proposing where you're going to meet them. Yes? So you don't know what will even, you don't have to give in. But remember, at this first time, they've caught you unaware. Yes?
For her, she had that sense that was like, you know what, my husband, there is this gentleman, and these are the phone calls. Please let us go together, but sit on the other table. And she also went ahead and called a certain police agent and was like, please, I know you are my very good friend. Accompany me to this this place, so that when we have a conversation, when I signal you, at least I'll be what? Because the gentleman, the way they were like trying to influence her, change her mindset. This is what is going to happen. We are going to make you rich there. This is the money. And you know, in the constituency, you cannot run the whole of this district alone. For us, it's just to be a phone call. We shall call the electoral commissioners, and they announce it. And because they made all these kind of like promises, but at what expense? You know that when you give in, they will always hold you what? So when you are there, they will always say, you are talking too much. Do you want us to say something, or you just what? Keep
but also,
quiet.
my question is, why would I listen to someone who tells me only a phone call and you will be announced the winner? Then I am part of the problem, you know?
No, and this is what happens. People, they always identify candidates, and they always want to, some they come as these guys to decampaign you for someone else. So they always want to look for solutions of buying you out. So this is why we as Interparty Women's Platform, we come in to educate the women who are coming in these positions. Because if you come and you are very green, you'll stumble on these blocks at the end of the day. Recently, we had a party of politicians, women in politics who lost in the last elections. And there was this honorable, she was very bitter, she was very sad, she was mourning, she was like, you know what, I went into elections. I did everything. I had these beautiful ideas. I initiated different skillings to my constituency. I visited people. I made sure that, you know, I was loving this. But at the end of the day, after doing all that, people, they didn't even give her, she was like, out of the 6, she was the 5th almost. And she was like, what happened to the women teams, the different sections that I was going to? And they are all rallying behind me. What happened for them to go to the ballot and vote for me, even to reach this position? I was like, she lost her car, she lost her house, she lost her business. Because every time...
Just maybe from this example, sorry, which we also need to check ourselves, whether we are having the women coming in for this position. Let me give an example. Honorable, sorry, I'm going to use that as an example. Before, Honorable, I will not talk about before, but let me talk about now. She's not in parliament. She's not in politics, like actively like running for
19
positions.
years since I left.
She has told us.
And if she decides to come back, she still can take the position.
But I have seen Honorable in spaces speaking either to young women, like those in training women, you know, she's still doing, you see the passion, you get it. But we are having women, like how you're saying that woman was crying, she had lost. But again, my question is, she said, I mobilized women, I trained them, which means it was a targeted what? And that is now the problem we are having with the women we are having. We are having women who are coming on board not with passion, but with the target. So they come expecting us women to vote them. It was her who was saying that these women are not passing through the women movement to be empowered.
In other words, if I can advance your cause, we were driven by a cause.
True.
A cause for women's empowerment, a cause for women's rights. We had a passion to break through the barriers.
True.
Remember, like Action for Development, breaking through, building up, and winding ourselves in love, and you know. But the current political environment is bringing people, whether men or women, into politics for a job to earn. Because politics is the highest paying job. And these people, even if you ask them, they even, when you see them even complaining, you know, the constituency is larger. you know, the district is larger than the constituency. Why should I take a district when the man is taking just a county? They have no idea that this district was an additional position to help women to get there. But she is equally entitled to go to that constituency which is crying for and contest. They don't even know that they have forgotten all they want is to come to power. And when you ask them, you call some of them and say, okay, tell me, give a presentation, like I was explaining to you, why politics, why women to go there. You think you will call those members of parliament and they will explain the way I am telling you as to why women are there?
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't. For them, they say, yes, they are also running. If you are saying build the road, they are digging the road. If they are saying Simani build what, they are doing that. For us, we knew that we went there to do every kind of work, but with particular attention and emphasis on the cause, on the welfare and interests of women. But for them now, it is a job. And therefore, it has nothing to do with
serving.
In fact,
and
then
secondly, now if you ask them, if you like, we are not yet in 2026. If we ever ask the women who lost, yes, that okay, what have you been doing from that time you lost? Get involved with the women in your constituency. You get. So maybe
they
also
finished.
Maybe we also find when we also need to find, like, just calling the women in your space and speaking to them and they cry. Yes, it helps. But how are we empowering them, like the spaces they've told you won it, those other spaces, how are we empowering them so that they don't focus on only what we are putting in? Yes, what are their reasons to them wanting to be in those positions? And even when we are talking about being active politically, why are they waiting for elections? Be active. Yes, I'm not a politician, and I would never wish one day.
Join one.
No, I'm speaking for myself. I'm speaking for my environment.
I was not one day.
I am speaking for myself. I am not a politician. I'm part in politics. Yes, because I'm a leader of an organization. I'm a part of the civic space. Which means I am part of the political space.
You are in governance.
You are in governance. Yes. I am never going to stand in a position of. Don't say that I was like you. You are not me. I am not.
But you will empower and promote the women and the girls to get there and participate in decision making.
That is where
that is our passion.
Even our passion currently, our passion is. We have been hearing that the women who are in parliament or in councils, they don't know what to say, they don't know anything. Our passion is to orient them. How are women supposed to, what are they supposed to do while in those positions? If you're advocating for the cause of a woman, should you go to every, like Ma'am, she has been saying that, should you go to the digging roads and all that? You need always consider the reasons.
How did they get to power?
Let me tell you how it came out. I told you of the political environment which is corrupted. You see the breakdown of ethical values, the moral degeneration, which have turned people into self-centeredness. Now, we used to go to politics driven by people's service, service to the people, human-centered and service to the people. The current of leadership we have is self-centered and power-oriented. They want to get power and use this power to get
to their own
rich.
self-good. Yeah.
That's it. And then also, because of moral decadence and ethical value degeneration, the public itself also, politics now is transactional.
Yes.
Punk way. That's why the president, when she wants a certain law or policy, he goes to them and say, okay, 100 millions per member. Yes, okay, what will you give us? He takes them to Chankwanz. He takes them State House. What will you give? 50 million this time. Okay, to each member of parliament, 50 million. They go to parliament, they pass what they want.
Okay.
It is just transactional, and therefore so the villagers say, why? We don't even see you. And the the problem with the villagers is, I wish they could know. Because they get 1,000. 1,000, not
Salt.
even a kilo of sugar, by the
Salt.
way. My uncle was telling them that they were demanding 1,000, 1,000, each 1,000. And yet these people come to parliament, they award themselves 50 millions a month. 50 millions a month in terms of allowances and remuneration. And for you, you go to 1,000 long ago once to vote for this person.
Okay.
So the villagers really need, I don't know how many of them hear us when we are talking, but they need to reach a stage where they say enough is enough. Ugandans need to reach there.
Just a small thing about the villagers. I think another thing,
very brief.
Yeah, brief. Another thing that is also holding some villagers, many of them getting them silence. They are seeing what is being done to other people in their spaces who are speaking. Yes? Remember these people, this government has done a lot to leave us in poverty. Yes? This person has nothing to eat. But again, the other person was like, enough is enough, stood up and spoke. They had to either abduct the family, they have done this. So even the militarization of everything, even in the areas, beating up people, the very many violations happening at the grassroots have contributed a lot to silencing these people, the villagers not to say that enough is enough. So as we talk about them that they have to say enough is enough, personally when I put myself in their shoes, I get to know when you're poor, you people. When you're poor,
even
sick,
even your relatives, they hate
and
you.
then not leave alone that when you're poor, you're sick, you even don't expect any help tomorrow, and then your neighbor was taken yesterday.
But how do they intend to be liberated now? They need to speak from such kind of
Yes,
situation.
I also agree they need to speak.
Thank you, actually. So sorry, our time is fast spent. I'm so sorry to interrupt the conversation. It's so invigorating, but our time has come to a close. I'm going to ask you all, starting with Naima coming in, to give your very, very, very brief closing remarks. Very brief, kindly.
Well, I think coming 2026, as women and citizens of this country, we need to look into issues. It's high time we start critiquing what these people are coming to fund to us. Yes, we might be poor, but the only person who can remove you from poverty so that for you have a brighter future is yourself.
Yes.
So we need to ask questions regarding our own welfare as citizens of the country for whoever is going to claim to represent us. We shouldn't look at money, we shouldn't look at sugar and salt, but we should look at the future of ourselves as citizens of this country.
Okay, thank you so much, Naima. Winfred, you're very brief.
Thank you so much. To all the women out there, it is until you speak up, it is until you hate the bad, that is when we shall deliberate ourselves and the country. We don't have to vote women because they are women. Not every woman is for your cause, for the women's cause. Let's identify the women who are not for the women's cause, and we drop them. it's us who suffer when there is no medicine in hospital. It is us as mothers who suffer when our children don't go to school. It's us who suffer when there is instability in any area. It is us who suffer when there is, mostly it is us. There is that added layer that goes on the women. So until we stand up as women and we say enough is enough, and also bracket those women that are not good for us, and lift the young women, lift other women who are on our cause, and then we shall get there, because we are the mothers of this country. The Lord created us for a purpose, and we can make it. Our voices matter.
Thank you. Yes, please, Irene, you're very
my final remarks would be we as Interparty Women's Platform, we women from 10 political parties, what we are building is a dialogue and consensus, and we believe that women, we can work together despite our political houses for the cause of that woman, because when it comes to violence in elections, it all attacks us, not bearing that I'm a green, a red, a blue, whatever. So we believe that working together, it's the way to go. And in this rotten, dirty elections that we normally face the challenges, we believe that at the end of the day, we should not give up. We should come up with solutions as women. We are the majority in this country. We should come up with solutions, and we should work together for the better of our country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please, Honorable.
You know why I have laughed? Because I used to hear those days of ours. DP used to shout, we are the majority, we are the majority, but the majority with no power. That's what it was. Now currently in this country, in Uganda, the women and the youth are the majority. Surely, in numbers, whether they arrested and beat us and what, they wouldn't manage us. If we knew that since we youth and the women are the majority in this country, and the clique of small elderly people who suppress us and exploit us are in the minority, then we would take that secret, which is now I'm telling you publicly, and rise up and use it to, to reject what is going wrong. Sure. But anyway, it takes people who know God and trust God and believe and can be able to cry out to God. Because for me, as I talk right now in Uganda, as I have assessed the situation, I have repeatedly said that in the physical, there is nothing we can do to unseat President Museveni and his whatever, to change the system that is so badly corrupted, evil, wicked, and all this kind of thing. So the worldly has taken over, but my belief, and I know it, that God, who is in control, who gave us this nation, who is always redeeming us, He has ever redeemed us, is waiting for Ugandans to cry out. At least if you are a Ugandan and you are out there, you fear going on the street or what, at least to go to God and bow down before God and repent all these wicked sins that we have committed, like Nehemiah, and then God will hear our cry and redeem us. I am telling you. Okay. I am telling you that is what we can do. But the rest,
we leave to God.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable. We have come to the close of this episode of Women Speaking. Thank you for joining us. In light of the 2026 elections being around the corner, it is the duty and the role of every citizen of Uganda of voting age to take up the liberty, educate yourself, learn and analyze your candidates. It is upon us, the onus is upon us to change the country that we want to take things into our own hands. Thank you for joining us and have a brilliant afternoon. Good day.